Some things you may or may not already know. The topic of today's podcast is no other than the killer of all things frosty. Climate change. Yes, I dare say it, climate change. Climate change is a controversial topic among scientists and political leaders like our newly elected President Trump. In fact, 50% of government officials don't believe climate change like global climate change actually exists, while around 10% of climate change scientists don't either. However, for us who live down in Houston, oh boy, where have our winters gone? The change is upon us. Global climate change is a phenomenon that occurs with human activity offsetting the Earth's natural gas cycle, the biggest of which affects the carbon cycle through process of producing energy. In today's modern era of industrialization, profit, and speed, the use of fossil fuels as a means of producing power seems like a no-brainer. It's reliable and has a lot of potential energy ready to be converted into sheer power that can turn turbines or turn wheels on a car. After all things considering, gasoline is pretty cheap and easy to get your hands on, making it the candidate for use. Unfortunately for the planet, however, the burning of fossil fuels like gasoline and coal leads to carbon dioxide emissions and byproducts, which wouldn't be so bad if there weren't so many people with their own objectives. According to a very credible source like NASA, global climate change is affecting ocean sea levels, temperatures of biomes, warming oceans, shrinking ice sheets, and if that's not enough, throw this in there too. Declining Arctic ice surface area, glacial retreat, ocean acidification, and finally extreme weather events. Now I could write you a 500-word essay on each of these terrible topics, but I won't keep you here for long. Instead, I'll just tell you some of the side effects of these changes to Earth, such as loss of species of plants and animals not suitable for climate change. For example, polar bears and quiver trees. The complete loss of coral reefs in the ocean due to rising sea temperatures. As it is, we already lost about half of the coral on Earth, which provides protection for exotic fish. Rising oceans, which will flood the streets of coastal cities by 2040. The most at risk is the state of Florida and could be competing with the ocean for surface space. Extreme weather patterns causing the destruction of human-made structures and loss of human life. The warning signs are all around us, but nobody's willing to turn a blind eye on profit for the sake of future life on planet Earth.
So, what can we do right? Well, the minds over here at the Energy Institute High School have come up with an idea to minimize the effects of pollution as much as possible for indoor environments. Our solution is very simple. We plan to add greenery walls into indoor institutions, which should help reduce toxic chemicals and carbon dioxide. According to scientists who have been studying the air purification capacity of indoor plants, they discovered plants can absorb gases such as carbon dioxide and VOC. What is a greenery wall? A greenery wall is a wall that's completely covered with plants that are a self-sufficient vertical garden, which is attached to an exterior or interior of a building. In fact, studies have shown on an average a human emits 2.3 pounds of CO2 per day. If we implement green walls into school and office buildings, the air quality could be improved to a level that's better than it already is. Granted, there wouldn't be a significant amount of CO2 being absorbed through photosynthesis to completely erase the human carbon footprint. It can be helpful to counter the buildup of CO2 and VOC in the air, which is something you and I breathe. In other words, plant walls might not be able to remove 100% of contaminants in the air alone. However, they can at least improve the air quality by some fraction. In the end, there are limited options to what we can do as a species to stop the polar ice cap from melting, or the pollution of the air we breathe, other than stopping the production of all fossil fuel-based energy altogether. We tried regulation, and that's not enough. We tried alternatives like solar and wind, but they're not ideas that are taking off. Loss of species and loss of life should not be the cause for production and demand.
Climate change is real, and quite frankly, the facts are right under our noses. The sad part is that some people just don't know, or they just don't care. They believe that they're just one person and that this one person won't make a difference. There's a phrase for this. Tragedy of the commons. If one does it, and then another, and then another, then suddenly everyone's doing it. 1 tree down, 2 trees down, 3 trees down. The more work it'll take to clean the air. 1 factory up, 2 factories up, 3 factories up. That's just it. What happens next? And will there ever be enough? When do we stop? The only way mankind can save itself from its ultimate destruction through its self-destructive habits is to change not only his ways, but his whole world. If change never comes, then life on Earth cannot exist. And without change, there could be nothing left to call home. Again, when will it be enough? When do we call it a quits? And how much has to be lost? These are the questions we must ask ourselves and those charged with our security. So start making those calls. Call your state representatives. Call your state council. Talk to your mayor and your president if you have to. There's no time to wait for change to come about on its own. The time is upon you, and you wield the power to change. It's like the great doctor once said, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Thank you for listening. This is the kids down at Energy Institute High School, speaking to you from EnergyCast. From ink to life, let life be the new face of energy.